okay, there's something I want to talk about, and I want your opinion on it, because I was talking to my father yesterday. We were talking a lot. My father is huge into sports. Okay, so
Okay.
Whatever sport, American football, hockey, golf, baseball, he just loves that. And we were talking about how I was getting sad at Psyonix treating Rocket League like a sport, because I think that's a major problem of treating a video game like it's a sport. And I'm sure if you've been into Rocket League, I'm sure you've seen the argument. What are your thoughts on that? What do you think about how they should handle Rocket League? Should they never change anything to be like, well, football doesn't change anything? What do you think?
I think that's tough, right? Because I feel like I've said this before, but Rocket League is like sci-fi sport, right? Like,
Yeah,
it is a sci-fi sport. It is a sci-fi
get what you mean.
sport. We got flying cars. We got people flying off the freaking roof, flying into a soccer ball. This is sci-fi soccer, and so naturally you lean towards, I guess, with esports becoming a thing. And so so it technically is a sport, and the esports scene in Rocket League is huge. Like, the viewership on Rocket League skyrockets the moment that there's a huge tournament.
It's not even close, yeah.
It's like it's crazy. Like, I feel like Rocket League averages like 2,000, 3,000 viewers throughout the day, and then the moment a tournament comes in, 50,000 viewers. Like, it's absolutely insane. And then you have the pros who take up I feel like take up the majority of viewership, and they drive that kind of direction. They drive the mentality that this is a sport, because they do shit that we just can't, as an average player, like, we just can't do. So I feel like treating it like a sport is not unrealistic. We watch sports. People watch sports because it's athletes playing at the highest level. People watch Rocket League esports because no one is squishy. People.
Yeah. Okay, let me stop you. I understand, and while you bring some good points, you're wrong, and I hate you. And
okay, no problem.
No. The thing is with that, while you're right, 100%, people still watch, League, Fortnite, games that change a lot. If you watch League today, the World Championship that happens today, versus like the World Championship of Season 2, it looks like almost completely two different games. The map has been updated, champions have been updated, the looks, everything is different. Now we have plants in the rivers and the jungles. Now we have like different kind of dragons. We have the Rift Herald. Like, there's a lot of change that we almost don't notice because it's a bit every season, but you can see the growth of the game, right?
What you're saying is that they're treating Rocket League legitimately like football, in the way that the rules don't change, the game doesn't change
nothing. Exactly.
Okay,
that's my problem. And I understand that they want to go for that, and with how non-standard maps were completely trashed on when they were in the game earlier, I feel like the biggest problem to compare it to a sport is that when you play hockey or soccer or whatever the sport you play, you're gonna play your sport like what, 2 hours per week, like 5 hours per week, 10 if you're like really, really into it.
Yeah,
that's what you can do in a single day of video game.
Absolutely, 100%.
You're gonna play this game 5 to 10 times more a usual sport. Wouldn't you agree that you will tend to get tired faster if nothing changed?
Yeah. Okay. So I see more clearly what you mean. It's okay. So treating a video game like an actual sport, I think, is a little rough, because people want to see change. But the thing is with Rocket League is the moment that we saw any kind of change, everybody lost their damn minds.
True.
Even me.
Me included.
Even me.
I would punch myself in the throat if I could, because I voiced my concerns about non-standard maps when they came out. And
yeah,
I feel awful now. But only fools don't change don't change their minds.
Right. True.
I think they were poorly implemented with how they were implemented and when they were implemented. Now we're not the same community that we were 2 years ago. And if nothing ever changes, even pros are starting to get bored.
Yeah.
Which is a massive problem if you don't have pros that want to push the limits of your game. I mean, there are still the Justins, the Squishy. But I'm scared. When I'm thinking long term, I'm thinking like 10 years down the road. Right?
Yeah.
Not like, next season. Like, do you think in 10 years it will still be there without anything changing?
Oof, no, I don't think so.
I don't think so either.
I think personalities drive success in video games. Now in the state that we're in right now, as far as game, there was probably a time back in the day where nobody really cared about like people who's playing what and what's going on. But nowadays, personalities on Twitch, on YouTube, on whatever social media drive video game success.
That is so true. That is so true, and it's a whole different issue that Rocket League has. And I'm glad you bring it up. Do you know who Richard Lewis is? Lewis? I'm sure I'm butchering his name, poor lad.
And maybe I do, but I'm gonna say no because I don't remember it off the top of my head.
All right, so he mentioned, someone asked him. He's huge into like the esports scenes and stuff. He does a lot of journalism. He talks about esports all the time. And one day he got asked, "What do you think is the problem, if there is, with Rocket League esports?" And he mentioned exactly that. Like, there's no personalities. And this morning, while my friend put his alarm clock at 4 a.m. to watch Cloud9 play in the League of Legends world, I was like, holy shit, that's dedication. But like, why is he so into this team? Well, it's because of Sneaky, who's been there for a while. He loves how he plays, the champions that he plays, and there's like a deep connection between the players of that team and my friend, for example. Right. Meanwhile, in Rocket League, the only thing that can be kind of different is the card that they play. And it's like the only thing. And even then, sometimes people switch cars. Like for Jacob, for example, he switches cars often. And I feel like it's not enough to create that hard relationship between someone who's simply, I like watching RLCS, or I will wake up at 4 a.m. and trash everyone who doesn't talk good about C9. Like, right. And I'm sure there are those fanatics about Rocket League esports. I'm sure there are, but in terms of raw like numbers, even if we go by percentage, because Rocket League doesn't have the players that League has, obviously. But even if we go by percentage, I think that's the biggest problem, and that's what you just mentioned. It's like, I think personalities drive the games, and we've just now started to have interviews back on our LCS, like this weekend, the weekend of the 14th of October at the time of this recording. That is insane.
I couldn't agree more. I personally, when I was really into League of Legends, when I was super into it, I was watching certain personalities. I was watching League of Legends, but I was watching personalities on League of Legends. I wasn't, because you can click on just any random League of Legends channel, but what was I watching? Man, I was watching, as far as the pros go, I was watching people like Wild Turtle. I was watching people like, I was like Double Lift, Hot Shot. I was watching those, and I was watching Tyler. I was watching Tyler.
Did you say his name here? Okay.
Because it's entertaining, and I guarantee you, because of these people, other people like got into the game. You see them playing at high levels, and you're like, but not they're not just playing at high levels. You know, Double Lift is talking trash. Like, wow,
I love
that
this. I
and
love this, and I
I
will
loved
remember
it.
all my
Yeah,
life. All my life. Everyone is trash. Proceeds to stomp them next game. Completely like demolish them. How can you not like that storyline
right.
of like this big evil dude who's like, yeah, fuck you all. I'm gonna crush you. And then he crushes
And then he
you.
crushes you.
Like, oh, that was so good. That was so good. And it's unfortunate that some games don't jump on that opportunity to create these massive storylines of like,
Right.
there's this guy that plays ADC that's just so good, and he's trash talking everyone, and then that
Right.
creates two camps, which is fine because the two camps still watches the same game. They still watch the same game, even if they're once against each other, like once again. Well, English is hard, kids. One against another, they're still watching the same game. I mean, that was the whole strategy that the damn Paul brothers used.
Yeah.
It's like one against each other, yet they both watch the same thing. So that drives, interest.
The connection is really important. You can see it. You see it in almost all major sporting events in like just real life sports.
Of course.
You see it in all of that. You see it in the UFC. Khabib Conor was a big one in most recent memory.
Yeah.
I mean, yeah, they caused a lot of craziness, but that craziness, that emotion, that raw passion, yeah, like exactly. People say that they don't want that. People are like, oh, we want, good sportsmanship. People say that.
Bullshit.
But yeah, people want to see people go out of their freaking minds crazy because that raw passion drives sales. That raw passion drives interest. That raw passion is the reason why Khabib versus Conor, if it happens again, they're gonna get a rematch, and it's gonna like the sales are gonna be crazy.